What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Today is Tuesday, September 26th, day number 56 inside the Big Brother house. And listen, not much is really happening inside the house, but at the same time, so much is happening inside this house. And actually, I kind of have an interesting take on how things are playing out. And even though this week feels very boring and everything's kind of stagnated, why I think the way things are going, this week might actually be really good for the rest of the game. You're going to want to stay tuned for that. We're going to get that in a bit. But let's talk about what really actually happened before I get into like my little theory time on how this is going to affect the game. First off, yesterday was a lot of fun with Blue. We've been talking for a long time now how Blue picked up on the hints that Jared was dropping about, you know, I was in Fiji when I was 18, and maybe the hint of my mom's in this game, even though he said Felicia. She's known for a while that Cirie is his mom. I think she even had her doubts about it too, right? Like, even though she kind of knew, she almost didn't want to accept it, thought maybe he was joking. But over time, I truly believe at this point, like, she just fully knows and she's trying to pull it out. She was trolling this entire day with two really big conversations. And when I say trolling, I don't mean like the internet sense of trolling, where it's like you're just saying things to get a rise out of somebody. More in like the fishing term of trolling, where you kind of like troll the bed of a river, kind of drag something out of somebody, kind of fishing for some information. And what she did was she had two separate convos with Jared and Cirie, both of which she was asking about Cirie's sons and Jared's brothers, and if they were in the house, who would they be close to? Now, Cirie was saying her oldest son would probably get along with Red really well because he's kind of like a man's man. Like she just feels like him and Red would really get along. Interestingly, Jared didn't say Red, but he said Cameron. So kind of like the three amigos there, pretty much, where you got Red, Cameron, and then the oldest brother / son would fit in really well in that group, which makes a lot of sense. Now, she had the conversation with Jared first, and when she asked him about his younger brother, he was like, well, you know, I think probably Cory. He's like a little nerdy, right? They would get along really well. And I think that's almost why Jared kind of views Cory the way he is, because he thinks of him as a younger brother and doesn't really have that same kind of threat level or respect, even, I guess you could say, in a way, that he would for, like, let's say a Matt or a Jag, who I think he feels is more a little bit equal to him than Cory, because he doesn't ever feel threatened by Cory. And like, I don't mean that to come off like in a negative way of how he views him. Just like, that's just how he sees it, right? Right or wrong, that's how he sees Cory. And when Blue asked Cirie this same question, she, instead of saying like, oh, who do you think, you know, he would be friends with, she said, let me guess, he would be friends with Cory. And Cirie's like, yeah, you know what, I think you would. Bravo, Blue. This was fantastic. And I really hope these convos make it into the edit of the show. Whether it's this week, next week, at some point, this needs to be in here. I think you have to do it this week, just with the way Jared is a zombie, and we don't even know if he's going to make it past Thursday. This conversation has to be shown because they were so good. And yeah, it's almost a matter of time at this point where Blue's just gonna kind of come out and say it. She's just got too much evidence, and I think even they kind of realize it, but also Cirie just is on the idea of like, it doesn't matter, you deny. And I think what's going to end up happening is Jared's going to probably leave on Thursday if Cameron wins this competition, and what's going to happen is Blue's going to go to Cirie and say, listen, I know you're alone, and I know he was your son. I'm alone now too. Let's stick together. And I think that's how she's going to use this information. I don't think she's going to tell anybody else. I think she's going to do this. And the plus side of that is if Cirie decides that she doesn't want to work with her. Well, guess what? Now Blue has that over her head and can say at any time, oh yeah, you know that she was Jared's mom. So it's kind of like a little bit of a blackmail situation for Blue, and she's having fun with it, and I kind of love it. You go, Blue. Some other interesting things though is Cory. He's kind of becoming a big target of everyone, and in turn, America as well. Cameron is really looking at Cory as a potential target. We've heard him talk about being Felicia and Cory as being potential nominees. I don't think he would ever go after Felicia, but that is some of the things he's talked about. Cory's actually worried about Matt and Jag because they also kind of see it. They're like, well, I mean, if Cameron's going to take him out, like, why not? Right. And they're just kind of, they're very much just playing the middle with Matt, Jag, and even Blue as well. She's kind of in that trio, and they're making connections around the house. Meanwhile, we also have Felicia also talking with people like Mimi about how America and Cory are threats. And it really feels like everybody would like to break up the America-Cory duo. The one thing they worry about is if the America-Cory duo breaks up, she's probably going to go to Cameron, because that seems like the person she has the most trust with. But what's interesting is with that is Cameron actually called America out on how much she's been telling others about him. He said to her, you know, it's gotten back to me that you told everybody else that I was targeting Felicia. She's like, really? Who said that? And he's like, well, listen, it just got back to me. And eventually she kind of gets to like, I guess I did maybe tell Matt and Jag that because, you know, they didn't trust you that much. And he's like, just, I'd appreciate it if things that happen between us stay between us, and you don't talk, just don't talk about me ever. Just let's do it that way. So that's kind of really an interesting little dynamic there. We also have Cirie, who really was still kind of seen as somebody who was untrustworthy. At this point, kind of coming off trustworthy to everybody again. And this is the power of Cirie, where she's able to have a conversation with you and you walk away feeling great about it. And it feels like she's kind of gotten a little bit of a second wind here in the game. And I really do feel like once Jared does go, it will end up being better for Cirie in the long run. Because as long as he's there, they're always going to see her and him as a pair now. But if she's on her own, she can actually join up with some of the others and break up the pairs, and she doesn't become a target at all. Now, there is one person who's fully aware that you cannot still trust Cirie, and even though he feels like, you know what, we might be able to work with her, he still is warning America not to trust her, and that's Cory. The two of them, like, this is starting to become like, that's the big rivalry now is Cory and Cirie. And really, if you go back all the way to week 1, it was kind of in the cards for this to happen. There was that conversation the two of them had in the have not room where he pretty much said like, oh yeah, like I want to work with you, like I'm gonna fanboy about you and all this stuff. And it just really felt like they both realized in that moment, like, I'm gonna have to get you out. Like, both of them realized, if I want to win, you have to go. Like, they both realized this. But there is potential they could work together. And Cory, again, he was warning America, because America was like, can we actually work with Cirie? Is this actually going to happen? And Cory just said, she's probably a top 10 Survivor player. He even told her, you know, about the whole story with Eric and giving up the immunity, which actually I realize now, not everyone probably knows this story. I know there's a lot of fans of Survivor who watch this channel, but I know a lot of you didn't know Cirie before she came into this game. And you've seen now, like, kind of what the hype is a little bit about her. And like I said, she can have these conversations, you walk away feeling great about it. One of the most amazing things that Cirie ever accomplished was, it was Final 5. Her, Parvati, Amanda, Natalie, and Eric. And in Survivor, you've got, instead of like HOH, you have the immunity. So Eric won individual immunity, meaning he was getting to go all the way to the final 4, and one of the 4 girls was going to have to be voted out. Except Cirie came up with this crazy idea where she was going to go to Eric and tell him, your word doesn't mean anything anymore. Because the vote prior, Eric had kind of like flipped and like went back with kind of some of his old tribe mates, and they ended up voting somebody else out. It was a whole thing, and then there was an idol. It was a whole thing, right? But basically, get to the point where Cirie was able to convince Eric that if you want me to vote with you and get rid of a man, you have to give up your immunity. And he goes, oh, I don't know if I can do that. Then I'm at risk. I could be voted out. But what does he do? He gives up his immunity necklace, and all the girls vote him out of the game. Now, it did end up not working out great for Cirie, because Amanda, Parvati, and Cirie, they teamed up. They got out Natalie at the next tribal council, but then instead of a final 3, like a lot of Survivor seasons are, this one ended up being a final 2, so Cirie was that close to getting to the end. She does get to the end. There's a really good shot that she have a shot at winning that. But it does end up being where she doesn't make to the final. But just being able to convince Eric that he should give up the immunity necklace, he pulled a Marcellus, right? We all know, and actually I say we all, but again, I always have to kind of remind myself, there's a lot of newer Big Brother fans that end up watching this channel. Back in the day, Marcellus won the power of veto and didn't use it on himself. He stayed on the block and he was voted out of the game. Kind of what Eric did. She convinced Eric not to use the power of veto on himself, pretty much. It's one of the most amazing plays in all of reality TV history, as far as reality game shows go. And that's the type of skill that we're talking about with Cirie. And Cory tells America this. He's like, as much as she will be a loyal player and she doesn't really like deceive as far as like turn on people and be a traitor, you can't trust what she says, because she will lie to you, and she's very good at making you feel like she is your number one. So Cory's fully aware of that, and it's going to be really interesting seeing how this goes moving forward. And Cory, after making such a big move, is becoming such a target. Really going to be important for, especially if he can't play in the HOH, for America to be able to win this HOH and be able to protect the two of them. Because if they don't win it, there's a good chance that not just one, but both of them could end up being on the block this upcoming week. Now, another thing, like I said, that's kind of been happening is all this paranoia back and forth, because what I was kind of saying in the beginning of the video was how there's not much happening this week, but yet at the same time, there's so much happening where all these little conversations are happening, and a lot of times they go in circles, but then a lot of times you end up with this scenario here where Cirie ends up being someone who was very much targeted at the beginning of this week, to now everybody's kind of like, you know what? I think she's with us, right? Matt, Jag, Blue, they all kind of think, yeah, Cirie's kind of with us. Jag, maybe a little less so. He's still on the train of, you know what, maybe we shouldn't trust her 100%, but they don't think she would put them up. She would go after Cory in America. So it really is kind of interesting how things have developed. And if you go back and you remember week 1, there was no HOH, but we did have nominees, right? So there were some people that were in danger who needed to have conversations. And usually in Big Brother seasons in the past, that first week kind of gets choked out a little bit, right? Because all the talk has to go through the HOH, and everybody kind of needs to walk on eggshells because they don't want to, create a target for themselves and make things kind of, make themselves a target, right? Like you just have to be careful, especially that first week. And if you're going to talk with people, you're going to talk with the HOH, and it all gets funneled in there, and it kind of chokes the game a little bit. This season was different, though, because of that not having the HOH right away. It felt like things were much more dynamic, and the game was really moving a lot quicker. We had lots of alliances kind of forming, not just with people eventually in the HOH room, but outside of the HOH room, just lots of different convos happening. And it felt a lot of fun. And I even actually said, I kind of hope they bring something like this back. where we don't get an HOH for those first few days of the season, just to get them all talking and being able to freely have those conversations. And also to have people nominated, it forces people to have conversations. Because if there's nothing to have you talk about, you're not going to talk about anything. And with the game still going on and potentially people coming back into the game, there are lots of conversations to be had. So I almost feel like what's happening now is if we didn't have this week, more than likely, Cory, America, Matt, Jag stick together very strongly as a four because they almost wouldn't have time to really kind of change their minds. We would have had probably someone like Matt or Jag, maybe America, potentially win HOH. If not them, maybe it could have been Mimi, but at the time, it seems like she wouldn't have wanted to go against them and put them up. She might have actually, no, Mimi would have done probably Bowie, and then I don't know who else she would have put up as a potential replacement there. For a while, it was Cirie, but she's also probably smart enough not to go after Cirie. So either way, right? There was just lots of different things that could have happened, and it seemed like it was a little bit more predictable. But now, because there's so much little conversations going and cracks forming and all this paranoia, where now America's warning Cory about Matt and Jag having convos with Cameron and how Cameron might be coming after them. And then Mimi and Jag are having conversations about how America is really messy and kind of talks too much. And it's just really been kind of interesting to see how things are playing out now. And I almost feel like this week, even though nothing's happening, so much is happening for the future of this game. And I don't know. I'm interested to see how this all goes. Other than that, though, I do want to say a little couple birthdays because we have a few. I actually missed one yesterday with Casey. Casey, was your birthday yesterday. Happy birthday. Also, Mandy and Lauren, it's your birthdays today. So big happy birthday to you guys. I figured maybe I'd start doing these at the end of the video. So for you guys, how about a little birthday song? This is your birthday song. It isn't very long. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great birthday. I might have to figure out like another way to do that. Maybe we'll have like eventually enough birthdays where I have like a ticker up top with birthdays or something. We'll have to see. Actually, there is a nice space up there. We could see it. Listen, if anybody wants to buy a shout out as an ad, do you have something that you're trying to sell? Are you a business? Advertise with Ori. The billboard up there. Anyway, thank you guys all so much for watching. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Check out the link to all my socials in the description down below, pinned comment. You can find out all the different ways that you can keep track of everything going on in the Ori universe. The Discord's been a lot of fun. You can follow on Twitter for all kinds of stuff too. Kick, Twitch, everything you need's down there. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We are just continuing to blow past like all these crazy numbers. Again, we're creeping up onto that 9,000 subscriber mark already. There's still almost what now, 44 days left to go. Crazy that we have so much time still in this game. Thank you guys all so much for all the support. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you next time.